on that. 1, 2, 3.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is an absolutely beautiful sign to see the sanctuary filled, and it's a gorgeous day outside as Violet becomes a bat mitzvah. It's the second month of Adar in the Hebrew calendar where we're told to be happy, even when sometimes we get a curveball. Our cantor, Whitner, is under the weather. It's not COVID. He's having some stomach issues. He's going to be fine. But thankfully, Cantor Gutchin, who's been our cantor 2 years ago, who served at Cantor Emeritus at the Temple in Nashville, he's here to fill in as our shots this morning, so we're so blessed to have him. You'll find a prayer book in front of you or underneath you in Mishkan Tefillah. But before we begin our service, Violet needs to get her talit, and it's a great honor to welcome her bubby, her grandmother, Ronnie Hess, to the bima.
Violet, nothing gives me more pleasure than to lay my father's talit around your shoulders. His Judaism was so important to him, and the continuation of Judaism was most important. And the fact that you are now the fourth grandchild to wear his talit, that 4 sets of aunts and uncles and cousins have worn it on their wedding, and 8 babies, including you, were blessed with this talit, is the perfect story of continuing the tradition and continuing the Jewish blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef bat tzitzit.
We turn to our prayer book, Ma Tovu, page 290.
La 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 Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael la 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 ani berov chastecha avo veitecha La 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 la
291.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah uvaro vo nikavim nikavim chalulim chalulim. Galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chivodecha, she'im yipateach echad mehem, o yisatem echad mehem, efshar lihitzkayim v'la'amod lefanecha. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot.
On the next page.
Elohai, Elohai, Shenatata bi tehorai. Ata barata, ata nefarta, ata nefachta bi. ואתה משמרה וקרבי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי טהורתי.
We continue on page 293, our Nesim B'Kol Yom, our prayers for daily miracles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We continue to page 298. Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, she'adam ochel perotehem ba'olam hazeh, v'hakeren ka yemet lo la'olam haba, ve'eluhen, kibud av va'im, ugmilut chasadim, v'hashkamat beit hamidrash shacharit ve'arvit, v'achnasat orchim uvikur cholim, v'achnasat kala uvayat hamet, v'iyun tefila, v'havaat shalom ben adam lachavero, v'talmud Torah keneged kulam. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We turn to page 312 with our Chetzi Kaddish.
יתקדע ויתקדע שמי רבה, ביעמד יברח ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחייך בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לא מעולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירון בעלמא, אמרו אמן.
For those who are able, we rise together, the top of page 313.
La, la, Lai la 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 lai. Lai la 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 lai. Lai la la lai 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 la la lai 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 la 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 lai 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 lai. Lai la la lai 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 la la lai 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 la 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei hoshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam, bechochma asita malaha aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu. Al shavach ma'aseh yadecha ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'rucha selah. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamarot.
We turn to the middle of page 317 for an English reading. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear in every land and every age. Your children heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity, and please join me. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who brings us understanding of your will. Grateful we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the Psalms and the sages of Israel. And joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passions for righteousness steer our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveal the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael, ba'ava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher nochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvletecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letodafo b'neinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'lohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeit yadchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Turn to page 321. Sing the song of men and women. joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. We turn to the next page.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh feder. שירה חדשה, שיבחו גאולים, שמחה אספת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Israel, umamezat Israel, uftechinu mecha, Yuda veYisrael. Go aleinu, Adonai tevaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'ai Yisrael.
For those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah.
Hold on, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Vanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevig Ula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo V'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor lilam Adonai, mechayei metim, atah rav lehoshia, moshiv haruach, umorir hagashem, mechakel chayim bechesed, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב ביד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבוד אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כוחי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גד לך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גד לך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם לעולם ועד. ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. המקדשי מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישמעו ויתענגו מטובך השבת. ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קורא עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וידשת שבת. זכר למעשה למעשה וראשית שבת. ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, we look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence.
We take a few moments for silent prayer.
yiboneh. Yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yiboneh. Yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yiboneh. Yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yiboneh. Yadadai, dai, 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 dai. I will build this world from love. La-da-dai, die, die. And you must build this world from love. Yada-dai, die, da-da-dai. And if we build this world from love, yada-dai, die, then God will build this world from love. Yada-dai, da-da-dai.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion for this Shabbat, Pick Your Day, is from the book of Exodus. In this parsha, Moses asks the Israelites for donations of gold, silver, and copper, as well as their time to construct the Mishkan, or sanctuary, to house the Ark of the Covenant. He also reminds the Israelites that they will work for 6 days, and then on the 7th day of the week must take the day off to observe the Sabbath. Resting on the Sabbath from sundown Friday to sundown on Saturday is one of God's commandments for Jews to observe. This rule echoes the first chapters of Genesis, when God rested on the 7th day after spending the first 6 days creating the universe. In Moses' day, this commandment was so strict that to violate it could be punishable by death. In the modern world, while only some Jews follow the strict rules of Shabbat, all are aware of the importance of this holy time in the week. For centuries, many rabbis and scholars have tried to answer the question of why God commanded us to observe this day of rest. What is its purpose? A rabbi from the 3rd century, Rabbi Hia ben Abba, told his students that the Sabbath is a day given only for pleasure. Other rabbis have claimed that the Sabbath is a day given to us by God as a day for prayer and the study of Torah. Mordechai M. Kaplan, a 20th century rabbi and founder of Reconstructionist Judaism, offers us a different interpretation. He suggested that the Sabbath was a pause in our brushwork. He observed that an artist could not always be continually using their brush, for they must stop at times to refresh their vision of the object. For Rabbi Kaplan, the Sabbath is a time to stop and observe what we are doing with our lives. A spiritual moment in time to set goals, enjoy our successes, contemplate our failures, and reflect about what we can do to improve our imperfections. After observing Shabbat, we can return to our painting with a clear vision. I received a similar explanation of the purpose of Shabbat when I reached out to Scott Hausman-Weiss, our former rabbi here at Temple Emanu-El and a family friend. He said, Shabbat is our weekly reminder that the disconnectedness we sometimes or often feel isn't the way it is supposed to be or has to be. For Reform Jews, this might mean having dinner with your family, watching a movie with them, or just engaging in an activity that's not on our daily to-do list. Rabbi Hausman-Weiss told me about a 20th century rabbi named Abraham Joshua Heschel, who described the Sabbath as a sanctuary in time. We all have our safe places where we are comfortable, But for Rabbi Heschel, Shabbat gives us a dedicated window of time that provides peace and an opportunity for meaningful connection with ourselves and others. For Orthodox Jews, observing Shabbat is less of a debate. When I reached out to Levi Weinbaum, another family friend and a Chabad rabbi here in Birmingham, he said that he rested on Shabbat simply because it is commanded by God in the Torah. Rabbi Weinbaum noted that since God rested on the seventh day, an Orthodox Jew's choice to rest on that day gives them a stronger connection to God. Orthodox Jews follow far stricter Shabbat rules from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. These laws, which developed in the early days of Rabbinic Judaism, dictate what Orthodox Jews can and cannot do on the Sabbath. In the modern world, Orthodox Jews do not drive, turn lights on or off, answer the phone, send texts or emails, or use an oven. Although Rabbi Weinbaum might have a stricter interpretation of Torah than his Reform rabbinic counterparts, he, like Rabbi Hausman Weiss, also mentioned that one of the purposes of Shabbat was God telling us to take a break to be fully conscious of the life we've been blessed with. I appreciate the fact that Judaism gives us different ways to observe Shabbat. Perhaps that was God's intention all along, to make us pause and contemplate the purpose behind this commandment to do essentially nothing one day a week. Perhaps God wanted to give us each the chance to create our own sanctuary in time. We're all individuals with our own relationships, to ourselves, to God, and to others. Shabbat affords all of us the time to reflect on those relationships and to build upon them and nurture them each week. For me, this weekly day of rest has become more important than ever. These past couple of years have been stressful and hard on everyone. We have all been anxious, confused, worried, and scared at times. Having a day each week to turn off our phones, enjoy time outside with our friends and family, and reflect on all the good in the world instead of focusing on the negative is vital. It gives us a chance to power down and refresh our minds and our souls to begin a new week. Even if we don't celebrate Shabbat in the traditional Jewish way, we would all benefit from building our own sanctuaries in time. I hope all of you in the temple today, and listening online, regardless of your beliefs or worldview, will consider dedicating time each week to take a pause in your brushwork before you get back to painting the beautiful mural that is your life. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
With the spirit of learning, we now move to our Torah service 368. And for the honor of opening the Ark, we welcome to the Bima Violet Sister Zoe and Lador Vador from generation to generation. We welcome Ronnie and Donald Hess and Mary and Mitch Levine. And for those who are able, we rise together.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'en kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol alomim u'memshakecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yiten Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim Etiva v'tzonecha et Zion Tivnei chamot Yerushalayim Tivnei chamot Yerushalayim Kivecha levad batachnu Melech eram v'nisa Adon olamim Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'davar Adonai Yerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato.
Thank you. Rabbi and cantor and extra cantor, thank you so much for today. Violet, first, you are doing an amazing job today. And if we haven't told you already, we're very proud of you. I hope that while you've been concentrating and going slowly and enunciating and all of the other annoying things we've been encouraging you to practice over the last few weeks, that you've also had a chance to look up and look out and see all of the smiling eyes behind the masks. This is your community, people who are here for you and us and your family, people who love you and cheer you on and want to see you succeed. It is a beautiful thing to have a wonderful and diverse community representing all the different areas of your life. And it's even more beautiful to see all of these people in person and in one place after such a long time. Thank all of you for being here.
Violet, it's true that you do run in a dizzying array of circles. Your academic circle, your athletic circle, your circle of friends, your large extended family, and of course your Jewish circle. With many representatives from each of those circles here today, and because the Jewish community in Birmingham is not so large, there are some folks here who are experiencing their first bar bat mitzvah. Actually, for some, this is likely their first time in a synagogue. They probably don't know how hard you've had to work to prepare for today. They may not know that you're about to read your parsha directly from this Jasper, Alabama, born and bred Torah scroll. That means reading a lengthy passage in a language you don't speak, with no punctuation and no vowels. It's really hard. Because of that, Rabbi Wright asked us to talk to you for a minute about what this all means. What is the purpose for this celebration? On the surface, it's a rite of passage, of course, a ceremony that most young Jews go through in order to be considered a Jewish adult and determine how they want to practice their Judaism going forward. It's neither a beginning nor a culmination. It's part of the continuum of your Jewish path that began with your Hebrew naming just 8 days into your life.
We can't tell you what being Jewish will mean to you as you get older. The whole point of today is that you get to decide that for yourself. You get to decide what it means to you, like I did, and your bubby did, and your Nimmy did. You make 4 generations of women in our family bat mitzvahed right here on this bima at Temple Emanu-El. However, while the decision might be yours, right now we have the microphone, so we'll take just a minute to tell you what we hope being Jewish will mean to you.
First, honor Jewish tradition as best you can. Host a Seder on Passover with friends and family. Light a menorah on Hanukkah wherever you live. Say a motzi once in a while before you grab a slice of challah, and remember to bolus 15 minutes before you do, because I had to get one diabetes joke in there. Consider having a Jewish wedding under a chuppah. And if you start a family, raise your kids Jewish so that someday you can stand here in front of them and hundreds of other people and sharing your hard-earned wisdom.
Second, we hope that you will live by our family's values, values which are one and the same with our Jewish values. Values we hope that you've learned at the dinner table, in everyday conversations about philanthropy and doing what's right, in the work we do in the community, and at all of the protests and marches, even though you once told me you were tired of marching. These values can be summed up by the Jewish concept of tikkun olam, healing the world. At last night's service, we read, On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. V, we charge you to embrace your values to repair our world, to seek justice and fight for it if you have to work for a future that is equitable, and to do all of this as a proud Jewish woman. Channel that 4-year-old version of yourself who sang at the top of her lungs on an airplane, "I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and I'll shout it out loud." A Jewish person who is proud of her religion, culture, and heritage, but who lives her values by repairing the world, not just for us, but for everyone.
And finally, Violet, being Jewish means remembering. Remembering all of those who came before you in an ancient lineage stretching back millennia.
Remember those who worked and fought and died to give you a chance to grow into a strong Jewish woman. And we don't just mean Abraham and Sarah and the Maccabees, though sure, you should keep studying Torah to remember them.
We mean those that died in the pogroms, in the Holocaust, and relatives like your great-grandfathers and great-uncles who fought against those who would try to end the Jewish people.
Remember your grandparents and how lucky you are to have all 4 of them right here with you, beaming with pride and celebrating you.
Remember your great-grandmother, who at 97 is listening online today to the next generation of her family, continuing her legacy.
Remember your sister, who will be your champion and best friend for the rest of your life.
And please remember your parents, who are perhaps no longer carrying you, but will always be here as stepping stones for you to use as you see fit, to see higher and farther than we ever could.
We love you, Violet, and we are so proud of you.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Lecha Adonai Hagedol, והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד. תיכו בשמיים ובארץ, תיכו בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני עמם לך, נעניק נעשה לכל לראש.
Please be seated. And again, Parshat Pekudei. And for those who want to follow in our plowed commentary, there's some in the back of the sanctuary. We're beginning with verse 13. Don't start yet. You got your spot. Don't start yet. For the honor of the first Aliyah, we welcome Heidi Hess, Carl Hess, Lisa Lowry, Chrissy and David Nelson, Hillary and Stuart Nelson, Maggie and Jamie Slavin.
Ya'amdu Rishon.
Come on, guys. We're all family. I've called more Aliyahs. Come on in, guys. Okay, fine. All right, this is Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayasu achachoshen shashirot gavlut masei avot zahav tahor. Vayasu shtei mishpatzot zahav ushtei tavot zahav. Vayitnu et shtei hatavot al shnei kitzot hachoshen. Vayitnu shtei havotot hazahav al shtei hatavot al kitzot hachoshen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'torenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For the honor of our second Aliyah, we welcome Violet's grandparents, Ronnie and Donald, and Mary and Mitch.
Ya'amdu Sheni.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'et shtei kitzot shtei havotot natnu al shtei hamishpatzot vayitnum al kitzvot ha'efod al mul panav vayasu shtei tavot zahav vayasimu al shnei kitzot hachoshen al sefato asher el iver ha'efod baitach. Vayasu shtei tavot zahav
Vayitnas.
vayitnum al shtei kitzot
Kitofet. Ha'echod. That's it.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Lambo.
Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For the honor of the third Aliyah, we welcome Violet's parents, Emily and Bob. Get the spot. What do you got?
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim
v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayirkisu et hachoshen mitabotav el tabot ha'ephod bivtil techelet yiyot acheshev ha'ephod v'lo yizach hachoshen me'al ha'ephod ka'asher siva Adonai et Moshe. Vayas et me'il ha'ephod ma'aseh oreg kelil techelet ufi ha'me'il b'techa kifi tahra safa lefiv saviv lo yikareya.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
And for our bat mitzvah, it's our great honor to call you Violet, Vered Orit Bat Raphael the Amalia Cantor.
Tamod Bachura bat hamitzvah.
Baruchu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Amvarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vaya'asu ashulei hame'il rimonei tehilet vergaman v'tolad shani mosar. Vaya'asu famonei zachav tahor vayitnu et ha'ba'amonim b'toch harimonim ashulei hame'il saviv b'toch harimonim. Pamon verimon, pamon verimon, oshulei hame'il saviv l'sharet kasher siva Adonai et Moshe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
As the Torah is within our presence, we take time to think of those in our community who are in need of healing of body or spirits. We especially think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chargois, Greg Cohen, Karen Edwards, Bruce Fleissig, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Sandra Goldman, Miriam Goldstein, Josie Hatfield, Abraham Hausman Weiss, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Ralph Holtzman, Joan Jacobson, Corey Kessler, Bart Kolber, Jerry Lapidus, Marlene Meyerson, Zane Monlick, Jeffrey Muss, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Chrissy St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, and Carol Wright. And for those with us, if you're thinking of a loved one, a friend, we invite you to share that name as my eyes meet yours, or please stand. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, we turn to the middle of page 371 for our Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
For the honor of lifting and dressing the Torah, we welcome to the Bima Lynn and Mark Cohen and Faye and Robert Levin. And once more, for those who are able, we rise together. You each gonna take a stroll? All right, Mark.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
My Haftorah is from 1 Kings, the two-part book of Kings, which approaches history from a theological point of view, relates the story of the ancient monarchies of Israel and Judah. Here, the focus is on King Solomon's construction of a temple in Jerusalem. The work began about 970 BCE, aided by King Hiram of Tyre, who supplied skilled labor that was not available in Israel. The Sidra recounts the completion of the tabernacle, the Haftorah the completion of the temple. The same ark and the presence of God is central to both sanctuaries. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratzav divrehem hane'emarim be'emes. Baruch atah Adonai habecher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei hamet v'tzedek. V'tislam kol hamelacha asher asa hamelech Shlomo Beit Adonai v'yaveh Shlomo ekadshei David aviv et hakesef v'et hazahav v'et hakelim Natan b'otzrot Beit Adonai Az Yakel Shlomo et zignei Yisrael et koroshei hamatot nesiyei ha'avot livnei Yisrael El Chamelech Shlomo Yerushalayim laha'alot et Zaron Brit Adonai Me'ir David Hitzion. When all King Solomon's work in building the house of the Eternal was done, Solomon brought all the things that his father David had consecrated, the silver, gold, and the vessels, and deposited them into the treasury of the house of the Eternal. Solomon then assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes and clans of Israel to come to him in Jerusalem. They were to bring up the Ark of the Covenant of the Eternal from the city of David, that is, Zion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadarot, ha'el hane'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber umkayem, shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, לקדושה ולמנחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך, ומברכים אותך, יתברך הבפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen.
We rise together as we return the Torah back to the ark.
Etchayimi lamachazikim ba v'tomecheha meushar dedracheha darchei noam v'chov metivoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuvah Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
It's our great honor to welcome to the Bima the prayer for the congregation and the prayer for our country. We welcome Lisa and Alan Engel and Eileen Engel, and prayer for our country will be led by Andrea Haynes, Joy Madden, and Molly Myers.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'atacha levadacha v'yirah na'avod.
And the prayer for our country, again, the bottom page, 376.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and unite the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
I'd like to welcome Dr. Al Cohn, our immediate past president of the board of directors, who will present Violet with some gifts.
Violet, first of all, let me say thank you on behalf of the entire Temple family and board of directors for an absolutely lovely Shabbat service this morning. I feel smarter. I'm thinking about Shabbos in a different manner, and you led the service with such grace and poise, and just thank you for a lovely Shabbat morning. I am honored to be able to sit on the bima with you and feel the palpable wave of love and pride that your family is targeting at you across the bima, and Mazel Tov. It's been a lovely morning. It's my honor and privilege to present to you some gifts on behalf of your Temple family. The first present is there is no thank you note associated with these gifts. That's one. The second present is a certificate of completion of your bat mitzvah, suitable for framings to remember this day for years to come. There is a gift certificate from NIFTY, the Reform Movement's youth movement, in honor of this event for you to use for travel to Israel on a NIFTY high school summer or semester program. There is another scholarship from the NCCJ, the National Conference for Community and Justice, and the YWCA for future participation in a program called Anytown, Alabama, a social justice leadership program that is right up your alley. There is a gift in here from our brotherhood and sisterhood, a beautiful tzedakah box from the artist Gary Rosenthal, customized with our temple icon on it, and I hope it's something that you use for years to come, as well as a gift from the Grafman Endowment Fund, a youth experience bond, a Max Friedman youth experience bond, to be used towards any number of activities that enrich your Jewish life. Mazel Tov to you, Mazel Tov to your entire wonderful family. It's been a wonderful Shabbat. Mazel Tov to you.
Violet, I've been thinking of the past couple of weeks of the words I wanted to say publicly before we take you for the Ark for private blessing. The first letter that we wrote you to talk about the B'nai Mitzvah program comes from the Talmud. More have I learned from my students than from my teachers. And I think you this morning best captures this teaching. A year and a half ago with Linda Gutchin, our sort of retired director of education, she's still here consulting, and Kenner Whitner, when we went to Mishkan Tefillah, our new prayer book, we endeavored to create a new type of B'nai Mitzvah experience. We wanted our students to seize it, to explore the liturgy and decide how much of the Hebrew that they can do when they lead our congregation. And as Kenner Whitner, who would be here, we are so unbelievably proud of you. I remember when I met with you last year, I showed you the prayers, and you were so eager, so excited, you were fearless. You looked at it and said, I can do this. You were incredibly successful this morning, and you're an example of hard work and tenacity can have so much meaning when you do something from the heart. But in life, sometimes we will miss the mark, and sometimes we won't be successful. And your Haftorah portion is a perfect reminder of that. We learn about Solomon's dedication to build the temple, but the methods in which he did it caused a lot of tension between the Israelites. So I want you to flip your Haftorah portion. And as your parents spoke to you beautifully, we live in a fractured world. And as you become a Jewish adult, I know it's within your neshama, it's within your soul that you're going to live a life to bring people together. You're going to pick up the mistakes, you're going to correct the mistakes that our ancestors did, and I have no doubt that you're going to pursue such a just world. You did such a beautiful job, and as your rabbi, I'm cavelling inside, seeing you lead us so much in Torah. May this moment forever inspire you to do anything that you want when you put your mind to it. On behalf of the clergy and senior staff, Mazel Tov on such a great job. Yasher Koach. We ask the congregation to rise once more as we take her before the ark for private blessing.
Yeah. Do you know the Shechianu? Do you know the Shechianu? I'll do it. Okay. Inspire and provide us with the wisdom your Torah can show. Cause us to learn, renew and return, just as in days long ago. Please join us in Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
We remain standing. We turn to page 586 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to all of us and to all of humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love, the meaning of loss, the meaning of life and death. On this Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Ralph Ayland, Herbert J. Baum, Harry Burno, Abraham Bressler, Rose Waxman Bressler, Aubrey Buchalter, Herbert Kane, Isaac E. Capilouto, Judge Marvin Cherner, Sylvia Cooley, Bessie G. Cooley, Nelia Einstein, Gladys Epstein, Ben F. Ezekiel, Alex Friedman, Mort Gilbert, May Goldberg, Howard Goldstein, Nathan Goldstein, Michael Hirsch, Jacqueline Jaspin, Jack Caden, Nathan Kraselsky, Lena Krensman, Isaac Ike Cronenberg, David Joel Landau, Anna Levine, Jacob M. Levine Sr., Lee Unger Lichter, Abe London, Minnie Wheel Loveman, Joseph H. Loveman, Ella L. Mack, Beatrice L. Mazer, Eugenia Meekson, David Mitnick, Lucille Oster, Abraham Hurley, Philip Pincus, Saul Rittenbaum, Joseph D. Rosenberger Sr., Pearl Rothman, Rick Ruby, Ben Sag, Joseph Sachs, Sidney Sigmund, Louis Silberman, David Sperlin, Harvey D. Speiholt, Max Steinmetz, Milton Turner, Edward Wald, Rosalind Laurie Wheel, Oscar Weinstein, and Saul Zalman, and heartfelt condolences in the recent passing of Terry Aronoff, mother of Hillary Gawant, Jackie Blue, aunt of Judith Denson, Larry Stephen Cohn, uncle of Danny Cohn and great uncle of Nora Miller Cohn, Sissy Held, wife of Leonard, mother of Jerry Held and Karen Allen, grandmother of Brian Held, Elisa Nelson and Lane Held, and great-grandmother of Reed Nelson, Morgan Nelson, Alexa Nelson, and Jace Held, Louis Buddy Schulhafer, husband of Lucy and father of Lindy Edwards. And Violet, you have so beautifully honored the memories of Jimmy and Emil Hess, Willeen and George Mitnick, David Levine, Judith and Robert Sheehan, Joanne Hess Morrison, Karen Mitnick, Roberta Steinman, and Sidney Seidemann Jr. May all their memories forever be a blessing. We rise together as united congregation for our Martyrs' Kaddish. 598. Yigadal v'gadash shmei rabba, v'yoma divrach rotei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon ufchayet kol beit Yisrael, Bagala uizman kari v'yamru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabba v'varach li'olam olamei almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach hit ba'ar hit romam hit naseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal shmei dekutsha. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damin ram yoma v'yamru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yamru.
Amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen.
conclude with Adon Olam on 625, but I want to invite up, I'm very excited, all the cousins. I've seen the photos, so the cousins, you know who you are. All the cousins, please join your other cousins. Adon Olam 625.
Adon Olam, Asher Malam, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, B'chefso Kol. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Me'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimlok Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu yiyeh b'tifara Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, V'chefso Kol. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, V'yein Sheni, L'hamshilo Li'achbira Adon Olam, B'li Reshit, V'li tachlit, V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, V'chefso Kol. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzur Chevli V'etzara Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi Umanos Li, Menat Kosi B'yom Ekra Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, V'chefso Kol. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Miyado Afkid Ruhi, Ve'et Ishan Ve'aira Adon Olam, Ve'im Ruhi Geviati, Adonai li Ve'lo Yira Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, V'chefso Kol. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lehem min haaretz.
Amen.
You gotta rip it now, you gotta take a bite, make it yotzi. We have to fulfill the mitzvah. All right, pass it around.
There you go.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and please join us downstairs for our lunch in Yasher Koach. Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov.
Here you. You were terrific. You were terrific.